Good, happy Tuesday evening, November 10, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the news with Riley King. Let's begin. First up, let's begin with your COVID-19 updates. Let's take a look at that right now from Johns Hopkins University and Medicine. And here's a look at those COVID-19 updates for all of you right now from Johns Hopkins University and Medicine. Our global cases are 51,318,353. U.S. cases are 10,230,770. Global deaths are 1,269,507. Deaths in the U.S. are 239,521. That is a look at your COVID-19 updates from Johns Hopkins University and Medicine. And now let's get to your news. Jeopardy pays tribute to Alex Trebek in its first episode since his death. Jeopardy host Alex Trebek, who died Sunday following a battle of pancreatic cancer, was honored during the quiz show on Monday. Executive producer delivered an emotional message at the top of the show on before of the Jeopardy. Family memorializing Trebek and thanking him for all that he did. Trebek began hosting the Jeopardy in 1984, and after announcing his pancreatic cancer diagnosis in 2019, he continued to be at the helm of the quiz show until last month. His final day in studio was on October 29th. An episode featuring Trebek will continue to air until December 25th. Apple unveils M1, the first in-house chip for Mac laptops. Apple One More Thing event took place Tuesday, today. Apple unveiled the first lineup of computers powered by its in-house Apple Silicon chip, dubbed the M1, at the final event of 2020. And here is a look at the photo of the Apple product. The new Apple laptop with the M1 chip inside. Apple Silicon. The computers unveiled at One More Thing will be available to order beginning today and are scheduled to arrive to customers and some Apple stores starting next week. The new MacBook Air starts at $9,999. The latest 13-inch MacBook Pro starts at $1,299. And the new Mac Mini starts at $699. Biden-Harris slam GOP effort to undo ACA in Supreme Court as simply crucial and needless device. Before taking questions on his transition, Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris focused on the Affordable Care Act in remarks Tuesday afternoon, making a point to hit the issue the same day the Supreme Court was hearing arguments for the Trump administration's effort to strike down the law. Speaking after Harris introduced Biden slammed Republicans for trying to take away health care coverage for people after failing to have their own plans approved twice before, and doing so this time as COVID-19 pandemic continues. This case represents the latest attempt by the far-right ideological to do what they've been repeatedly failed to do for a long time in the courts, in the Congress, in the courts of public opinion over the last decade to eliminate the entirety of the Affordable Care Act, he said. Biden urged the court not to subvert and will of the American people, casting health care as not a partisan issue, but rather one of life and death. Harris spoke before Biden and focused on the negative impact that the loss of ACA would have on women and people of color. Getting rid of the Affordable Care Act will take us backward to a time when people could charge a woman more for health care than they could charge a man simply because she's a woman, Harris said. Adding communities of color would hit particularly hard Black, Asian, Hispanic, and Native American because they are at greater risk of pre-existing conditions. Biden calls Trump's refusal to concede an embarrassment. Speaking to reporters in Wilmington, Delaware, Biden, in his first comments on Trump not acknowledging his president-elect status, called Trump's refusal to concede an embarrassment. I just think it's an embarrassment, quite frankly. How can I say this? Factually, I think it will not help the president's legacy, Biden said. ABC News senior congressional correspondent Mary Bruce asked if he had reached out to the President Trump, and if he was watching right now, what would you say to him, she asked. Biden grinned and spoke directly to the camera. Mr. President, I look forward to speaking with you, he said. Asked about Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's earlier declaration that there would be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration, Biden again brushed off any concerns. Well, first of all, we already begun the transition. We're well underway, Biden said. Biden also said he can get by lacking access to intelligence. The president's daily brief, as General Service Administration, has not yet acknowledged him as president-elect. Well, access to classified information is useful, but I'm not in a position to make any decisions on those issues anyway. As I said, one president at a time, and he will be president until January 20th, Biden said. There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration, Pompeo said. His remarks, made with a smirk, comes as Trump continues to contest the election. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo disputed the apparent result of the 2020 presidential election on Tuesday, saying the outcome will still unresolved, and predicting his boss, President Donald Trump, would overcome Joe Biden's current lead of more than 4.6 million votes. Asked whether there would be a smooth transition to a Biden administration, Pompeo responded with a smile. there will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. It's unclear if the top U.S. diplomat prepared line was a joke, but he stood firm behind Trump in casting doubt on the election integrity and arguing the final result is still unknown, although his words will have no impact on that count. Out of office, President Trump could face new legal vulnerabilities. Experts say he lost a significant shield in ongoing investigations and lawsuits. President Donald Trump's loss in the 2020 election could serve to significantly complicate his efforts to fight off a host of lawsuits and investigations into himself and his company, forcing him to shed what has been one of the most effective legal shields for the past 4 years, according to legal experts. And let's take a look at that U.S. stock market and see how the U.S. stock market closed for this Tuesday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you for this Tuesday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the red and went down. S&P 500 closed in the red and went down. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the green and went up. U.S. 10-year closed in the green and went up. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VIX closed in the red and went down. And that does it for this evening edition of the news with Riley King. Thank you for watching this evening edition of the news with Riley King. Have a great rest of your evening. See you back here tomorrow for another edition of the news with Riley King. Good night and goodbye, everyone.